Welcome to Friday Night Fights, featuring some of the community's best players going head-to-head in Doom Eternal's battle mode. Tonight's competitors, playing Slayer, it's Grizzly. And the opposition playing demons, Ossium and AEP8FlyBoy.
I almost started that muted, which is my normal thing I do. I just start yelling at the camera. I'm yelling at you guys at home. I'm trying to get you hype. I'm trying to get you here, and I'm muted. But we fixed that by the fact, I hit the unmute button. And Ketchup, are you with me? You're not a RoboCop. Are you unmuted? Can you hear me?
Well, I think I almost started the show the other end because apparently you could hear my keyboard during that because I forgot to mute. So it's either going to be one extreme or it's going to be the other. But welcome everyone to our latest episode of Doom Eternal Battle Mode Friday Night Fights. What do we do every single Friday, 7:30 p.m. ET, right here on the Bethesda Twitch? We're trying to celebrate Battle Mode, right? It's a game mode that has a real kind of community following at this point, and whether it's all the discords, whether it's people playing the private matches, grinding all the sessions, or the general matchmaking, we're all here because we love the mode. And what we try and do for Friday Night Fights is kind of showcase the higher level of talent, you know, players that have been grinding a lot, putting a lot of time and care into it. And that really is the running theme of what tonight is. We've got some good players lined up and I'm excited for the games.
We do, and I have to do a special shout out to our boy Worthless Protoplasm, which is just both a hard and fun name to say out loud. That's the silky smooth, sonorous voice you heard introduce Grizzly, Ossium, and Flyboy. Like, huge shout out again to both Worthless Protoplasm, the whole Spicy Demons Discord. Love you guys. We are here, as Ketchup so aptly pointed out, for none other than Battle Mode, Doom Eternal's id Software designed, amazing, super competitive, skill of the Slayer, one player Slayer, because there can only be one, because it's Highlander IRL, versus two absolutely demonic, foes that are playing in which they have to use strategy. They have to spawn other demons. They have to, time all of their hazards and their heals. But wait, there's more. It is why we're here is to celebrate you guys in the community that are putting in time, getting sweaty, getting ready, doing the labs, giving us all of the data, because you guys love it. We love it. We're here for you. We're so happy to be back. Thank you, everybody who reached out last week and they were like, where's the stream, WTF? Well, it's right here. It's right now. And we have some fun ideas to maybe announce or not announce at the end of the stream too, so stay tuned for that. But without further ado, we have to point out one of the reasons for the seasons and a big part of why we're here, which is none other than UNICEF. Take it away to the charity. Catch up.
So Bethesda at Home, just a idea of just trying to raise money for different various charities. If you want to get involved yourself, you can go to !donate or charity in Twitch chat. Takes you to all the information that you need. And just during these troubled times, just raising money for different charities is what it's all about. If you want to contribute, feel free to. It's massively appreciated. If not, just spreading the word is good as well. Just paying a little bit of attention to Twitch chat. It seems like the volume might be quite low. The overall volume, apparently, our microphones aren't coming through super loud. I don't know if there's anything we can do about it beforehand, but it's come through clear my end on the test, so I don't know if there's anything different.
Same here. There shouldn't be. I tell you guys what, we'll keep an eye out to the old chat. Let us know if anything's too quiet. We'll give it a little bump. You're too low volume. Okay. Well.
This is the benefit of like remote stuff, being able to like act. Like, I don't normally read the chat during broadcasts and that because I don't normally get the chance. But
yeah,
in the office, you can read and
I'll give you a little bump. This is a bump for Ketchup, my boy.
Right.
Here's a little bump for yours truly. We're just gonna keep monitoring it. You guys let us know. We'll keep bumping it and pumping it and keeping it going. But I feel like there's a million things we say, and we say, yeah, there's a million things we say and we could say, but without further ado, instead of just saying a bunch of stuff, why don't we just get right into the match? Chat, are you ready? Ketchup, my boy, esports cast of the world, and one of my dearest friends, are you ready to get right into match one?
I'd agree with the dearest friend. Maybe not the first thing, but yeah, no. The players that we've got lined up. So you've got Ossium and FlyBoy going up against Grizzly. Grizzly is a long-time modern Doom player, and there's a lot of talk of town about his Slayer abilities. So you might very well be in for a treat. But I do think it's about time to jump into map one and see what the players are made of. Lineup wise, it's going to be much of the same all the way through. These players very much have their kind of set demons and their set loadouts and their set upgrades. So we're very much going to get 3 maps of players that know what they want. They know what they want to rock. So it becomes a lot more about the player versus player experience rather than, oh, I'll just take this different upgrade and rock that. So I think it's about time that we jump into map 1 and get the show on the road, Tokyo.
Let's go! All right, straight away, there is gold, there is opulence, there is, looks like free celebration of victories per podium here. There's a lot of a showing off in the most, kind of flared out way you can. I see some Ultra Nightmare clears in here. There's a lot of gold. A lot of gold, a lot of metal involved. Okay, we are on Celestial. Typically, this is, I'd say it's kind of a Slayer favored map, but we've seen the absolute, some of the craziest, trickiest plays from the strategy of Demon Duos come out specifically on Celestial. I love this map. And already, the Pain Elemental, doing what the Pain Elemental does, blinged out, singed out, ready to just strike from above. The shield's coming out as it should. And Ossium, again, putting on that pressure, but wait, there's already a deletion on the map, Ketchup. And we just got started.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at this point, this is a pretty scary position because the loot block's absolutely going to come through. And with 14 HP, there's not a huge amount you can do from that one. FlyBoy did a wonderful amount of job actually near the jump pads. You'll see so much Pain Elementals rock the shield and kind of be that living body block. And that's kind of what happened there. End of round upgrades, nothing really is going to take you by surprise. You've got the best friend because it's all about just trying to make the wolf a little bit better and benefit yourself as well. As you can see, it reduces damage taken. Dashing, the Slayer just needs to be able to move around. And the Fit Meatball, often seen as quite a kind of mandatory first pick. If the Pain Elemental can't move around so much, it can't really dodge the shots, it can't be as aggressive, so a lot of traditional picks at this point. I've got to give actually Grizzly shouts to the centered gun and dot crosshair. I feel like I'm one of the only people that rocks this combo, but apparently not. I love it. It's so good to combine them because you can see, I always feel like you can just see more. I know that it's just me, but definitely a preference there. Good use of the hazard just to immediately try and get some free damage. Using a hazard on the end of a jump pad's not a bad shout. Unless the Slayer has a dash, his movement's kind of set in stone there, right?
It is, and I like how the Marauder put his best friend out. The Wolf is on the board, but honestly, Grizzly hadn't hit the ground in such a long time that I think that Wolf just like straight up, looked for food elsewhere and went home because, again, you can only be hit by the Wolf when you're on the ground, and, Grizzly's been doing an amazing job here of only being on the ground when it suited him, which in that case, again, he took him down to the hazard area. Even though the flying meatball, still gets the advantage of not hitting the ground and being in that hazard area, there's only so many places you can go. When you're out of dash and you're out of shield, you're out of luck. Okay, end of ground upgrades. Of course, Master Carve coming out. Again, you want that chainsaw to not only come up quicker, but you need to get basically ammo from it faster, the time reduced per pip. And then you have Tactician coming out, of course, because these demons want their abilities up faster too. Everyone's basically like, I need more of what I had, and I need it quicker.
Yeah, if you're going to be having access to damage reduction, having damage reduction last longer, I mean, just look right here from Ossium, being able to press more than you otherwise would, because, hey, look, if the reduction, it's only just run out. Like, that entire fight, the reduction was there, which is why so many demons like to prioritize having the reduction in general. Now, the block comes through. There is still going to be one block left. The question is there going to be an opportunity to pop it? Because the shield, I mean, might be living on borrowed time at this point. Looks likely. Grizzly's going to take out the Pain Elemental, a whole bunch of ammo too. Just going through the belly of the beast with the damage there, but going to finish off, get another simple. I mean, the fights are fast, right? With some players, they play the slow game. Celestial, not really a map that you can play that game at all. The fights are constant because the map's just not very big, Tokyo.
100%. And honestly, like, you can tell that Grizzly's got some of that push forward 2016 multiplayer experience because he is aggressive. Again, Endless Rage coming out. Love to see it. And honestly, on the Demon side, they have a lot to make up for. They're only down a single round, but again, this could be the deciding factor in the end. And it's going to be a real testament to see if, obviously, they need to make more distance happen and get some respect from Grizzly so that they're not so pressured all the time. And let's see how they're going to be able to do it. Obviously, the eye in the sky, you got to keep an eye on Grizzly as the Pain Elemental with the bling at all times to make sure that the Marauder can sort of be a little bit more picky about when he pushes, about how he pushes, about basically closing in that distance with the super shotgun. They're doing a really good job of taking the armor away. Not a bad hazard. Again, he had enough dash to get out of that, so didn't do a ton of damage. Right now, that Hell Knight is doing work, though, Ketchup.
Yeah, kind of being a third playable demon at that point, but the danger is that Grizzly was able to just delete so quick. The question is, can Ossium escape in this situation? Team heal's been popped, so that's going to be gone for quite a while. Does a nice little double jump, just got to survive a couple of seconds longer. Benefit of the Marauder being a little bit of a smaller target, so you're not so easy to hit. I've got to shout out, there was an attempt to try and bait out a block right at the beginning of the round, and these two demons, they're quite smart. They know that using a block at the beginning of a round is kind of a waste. There's not a lot of ammo to make up for, so saving it for now. We'll live to see if it's going to be a little bit more beneficial. But the damage, the pain elemental without a shield, just a sitting duck. Issue now is the guaranteed health, guaranteed ammo, just like that. Hang on, dude, this Hell Knight is just being such a pain in the backside. Look at that.
He's hitting consistent damage. He's basically making sure that Grizzly never has armor. He's making sure that he deletes that. It was honestly, it was a rough situation to see, FlyBoy in the beginning go down when he did, because he was hitting so many accurate Lost Souls. It was actually super, super fun to watch. Okay, right now the Marauder's in trouble. He's not only in the hazard area. Ooh, that was a really nice hazard drop, but I don't know if it's going to be, enough.
That's the one.
And quick
GG
enough.
right there.
My gourd. It really
combo
is.
ability at the last minute. It's like they have good damage and they've got good pressure, but if the Slayer is able to keep you separated and keep you in a position where you're both permanently low, especially when the team heal was forced out from an early stage, the double team heal, it still is considered kind of like the best combination to take. There are more situational differences you can go with, but for the most part, it's just trying to give yourself more sustain. Because if you're against a good Slayer, they're pumping out a ton of damage, they're being probably quite aggressive, and without that little boost that both of you get access to, if he's going in with more stack himself or damage, as this case was, thanks to Endless Rage, it's just a scary situation, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of a scary situation and a quick map, albeit a free one, let's bring in from the internet, let's spawn in from the magic of Discord, our three fighters. Wow, all three of you are looking great. It looks like you've got a green screen and some kind of fire effect in the background. You're looking amazing. You're wearing all the precious metals. It's incredible. I'm going to start with the Slayer, the fully kitted Slayer. Grizzly, are you with me?
Go gold or go home.
That's just a great slogan to have in general. First of all, welcome to the stream.
Definitely.
I'm glad to finally have you on. It's been too long since we've done this stuff that we used to do in 2016, and now we're doing it again here in Eternal. Like, walk me through a little bit of, like, I noticed there was a lot of aggression, and of course, like, the Slayer is always an aggressive kit. Like, you have so many weapons, you have so many traversal options, but in particular, like, there was more than one time when you basically had that 50-50. If I saw you were low on armor, usually due to some of the consistent hits by both FlyBoy and Ossium, and then of course the Hell Knights just doing the rest of the work because their ground pound seemed to find you no matter where you were. But you almost every time, without a flinch, like, you would go in for straight attack, for straight DPS, for straight damage, instead of doing a retreat. Like, walk me through, was that like a Celestial pick, or was that just like a like Grizzly guidebook?
Well, I play any game the only one way. Go at it until you're dead, basically. It works in 2016 a lot better than it does in this game, but it's always, I play Path of Exile, Diablo, COD. I play this game the same way. I just throw myself at the enemy and hope for the best. It usually works out for me in the end, and that's what I've done in 2016. If you've seen me play, Joey and Phil has seen a lot of that in their Doom Eternal streams as well. I try my hardest, and it doesn't work out for me in the end. Like, say if I tried to play League of Legends, it wouldn't work out the same way because I would be dead.
They'd be like, stay in your lane. You're like, I am. This whole map is my lane. Anything in front of me is my lane.
The main issue with that, since I've played with these guys a lot, they are pretty much aware of how I play. So I try to mix it up here and there, try to bait out a block by chainsawing in midair when they can't see me, so I think I'm chainsawing. It doesn't work all the time because they know. So trying to mix it up with these two players who are very good, mind you, it's difficult to say the least. And me dying in the one round they won is when I threw myself in the battle too much, and then I got caught by Ossium's acid bath and his shotgun, and the Hell Knight kept me in there, so I couldn't dash out. So that's how it doesn't work for me sometimes. But generally, it works for me.
That Hell Knight was definitely like a third player one go
Yeah.
round, it just refused to leave you alone. But again, before we quickly touch on Ossium and Flyboy too, just kind of in spirit of the first map and the first game, for those that don't know, you're super old school when it comes to 2016, right? The amount of how many hours do you have in 2016?
Over 2,000. I'll have to check, but I know it's over that much.
So it's fair to
I've
assume
played
that
that
you really
game.
go hard on Doom Eternal, right? Like that was never a discussion.
Yeah, that was never a discussion. The moment it was released, I was like, I gotta get good at that game. I gotta get real good at that game before anyone else takes my crown. And like I said, go gold or go home, and I'm really trying to get there. Although I have a lot of really good competition, so hopefully I get the chance to test my metal elsewhere.
Speaking of metal, like I'm looking at a beautiful gold Imperial Marauder, and what again, I got to address. I usually start left to right, but I have to address the meatball in the room. Okay, Flyboy, your name is Flyboy. You're the pilot of a pain elemental. Like, walk me through the obsession with not being on the ground. What is it about not being on the ground that just makes you feel right?
Well, growing up, I learned how to fly pretty early on. I was 14 or 15 when I did that. Haven't done as much of it lately, but it was a good time in my life, and I look back at it with a good feeling in my heart. Like it did mean a lot to me at the time, but
So you can legitimately fly.
Yeah, I could actually fly before I could drive too, but that's neither here nor there. But
you just squeeze your muscles together and you levitate, and then you can just throw flaming skulls from your mouth. You just produce them and you just rain down.
Yeah, basically.
Love it.
And as for some of my takeaways from that map, especially, there were some moments that I was noticing I was pushing a little bit too hard. Like my brother and I are pretty similar. We're both pretty aggressive players. Coming from a background of past FPSs, including Doom 2016, I haven't played as much as him, but I've played a good bit enough, and I've played in teams with him. He's helped me get a little bit better, showed me some of his tactics and strategies and stuff like that. And yeah, I've grown in that game. I haven't played as much recently. I might go back at some point. And in Doom Eternal, we've been playing it basically since release, and yeah, I've gotten pretty okay with the Pain Elemental and the Marauder too. I haven't played much with other demons, so
love it. And
yeah.
I think while we're on that note, I was about
please.
to take over too. The same thing, really. On the note of those two demons in particular, what drew you? Asking you, Ossium, what drew you to this kind of combo? Is this a team comp that the two of you rock almost exclusively at this point, or are there other combinations that you play in matchmaking, or is this what you deem as kind of like your most meta pick? Like, what's the thought process behind your selection?
For this case, I mean, going against Grizzly, I mean, like you said, he's very well known in Doom 2016. So really going against him here, we knew that if we didn't pick really the best combination possible, we stood no chance. So we had to choose the kind of meta one of getting the pressure in with the Marauder and the Eye in the Sky sort of thing with the Pain Elemental. Plus, Pain Elemental can also do a lot of pressure, good distractions. If we're going publics, though, my favorite's the Archvile, but there's no way I can make an Archvile work against Grizz.
Too much aggression.
Yeah, Archvile's too slow, too big. Teleport's nice, but doesn't come up as quick as I'd like it to. So, yeah, he would burn a Archvile down pretty quick.
And how does it feel to be like you're teaming up with a brother to take down a brother? Like, what is that like Beach Boys or non-Beach Boys dynamic that you guys have established with you and Flyboy?
It's it's very poetic, isn't it? But it's it ends up working out, because it gives us a great challenge, and it also gives Grizzly against demons that are actually, more experienced than a lot of what you'll find in pubs. I know when he goes into pubs, he just wipes the floor with them. So, it's a nice way to do it, and it's the best challenge all around, I think.
Nice.
Wicked.
All right, you guys. Well, without further ado, for just a moment, we are going to, with the magic of the internet, despawn you guys for just a moment because we still have 2 more matches, full matches to catch up to go through here. So Match 1 went in the favor, 3-1 of Grizzly. A lot of aggression, a lot of good, with Ossium basically hitting those, dashing in, getting his super shotgun in with the Marauder. Love to see it. Love to see the Flyboy literally up in the air as the giant meatball, raining down very accurate shots. Hope to see more. They've stayed with the same demons all the way through, so I love that we get this continuous narrative. And without further ado, ready for match 2?
It's going to be Tundra jumping in. It's a popular map at this point, actually, really popular among a lot of players. And I mean, I'm going to hold my hands up. A popular map for me too. I really, really enjoy playing on it. There's just something so. It's not as small as it looks. Is Tundra? Yeah. There's so much open space, which doesn't seem like open space because that center point is such a combat-heavy map. But there's a lot of potential space to disengage if you need to. That might be, the biased Revenant main and me having a lot more room to escape when necessary. But it's a map that you just don't get tired of watching. I think it's about time we jump in, mate.
Here we go. Without further ado, we are going to the coldest place in Doom Eternal. We're going to Tundra. You're going to see a Zenith that is kind of in the middle of the map. It has a damn monkey bar in the center of it. There's a lot of options for the Slayer to be basically airborne for a lot of this map, as you can see, using the jump pads as he already did. And that teleporter that you see the Marauder kind of skating around, if the Slayer gets caught basically using that teleporter, there's a trap that can be sprung by the demons that is pretty deadly because he basically teleports into what's essentially a locker. It's the smallest space of any map on the other side of that teleporter. But my God, he's already pushing out so much aggression, and already the Marauder is off the map. And my God, oh, wait a second.
Demon damage and just the pain elemental being able to just survive the smallest amount right there. The start of a round, if both sides go really aggressive, you haven't had time to build up any of your damage or your cooldowns, so a bit of an all-out brawl right there. But in the note of end of round upgrades, it's dashing, best friend, and fit meatball. We've seen this before, a little bit of a rerun from the first map, but we're so late on into the game now, and I know it's almost weird saying that, seeing as we're not particularly late on in release, but it's enough time for players to figure out what they like and what they think works. So a lot of players aren't really going to shy away from that. But this, Mancubus, the Mancubus, right? The Pain Elemental and Marauder, got confused with my M's, is a combination that's just so popular right now because, they use the term eye in the sky. That's the Pain Elemental. It's not just a tank. It's not just a source of damage. It's the fact that the Pain Elemental was constantly just giving information to everyone else, and that's really what matters most.
The Prowler actually giving enough, pause there. We had to spend 2 full ballista shots, and he actually used a chainsaw to finish it off. So even though he got some ammo out of it, it cost him a little bit of time, and in that time, there wasn't anything the demons could do because there's so much aggression. There's just so much aggression. And honestly, there was a really nice exchange in the middle of that where I couldn't tell whether the Slayer or the Marauder for a minute were getting the better half of kind of the fakesy jump pad he was using, but ultimately it looks like Grizzly took that one down. Again, Master Carve, double tactician coming out of there, no surprises. Everybody wants, Grizzly is basically declaring that he wants ammo faster, and both demons want their abilities up quicker, so no surprise there. It's a 1-to-1 sitch. These are fast rounds, but again, these rounds can easily stretch out, especially if this Flyboy in particular, this beautiful meatball in the sky wearing nothing but Casio bling, that's not a trademark, that's just a fact. The deal is there is a lot of distance that can be caused here. And okay, with the Wolf already out, with this push, they've got Grizzly exactly where they want him. Grizzly was able to get a little bit more HP back there, but this is a really, really good position for them. And there you go.
Great use. Absolutely fantastic use. So many players like to use their blocks almost exclusively for chainsaw. But right when you're, it's high risk, high reward. But when you're that confident, by the way, Endless Rage and double team heal, that's just the way they rock it. And that's the meta they deem. So nothing surprising there. But my point is, when you go all in, don't you? When you know the time is right to go in and go for that final kill on the Slayer, using your block there, you're shutting down the tiniest amount of stack and ammo or whatever it might be. But if that's what it takes to get the round, if it doesn't work, you've almost wasted it. But if it does, it's all or nothing. And I love the confidence to see a demon team be that confident to go for it. Clearly worked out, but as we now jump into the next match, looks like a brawl's going to break out almost immediately. And there's that shield. The shield is so vital for just shutting down, being completely teamed up on here, but it looks like the damage is still good. And here comes the pressure. Arachnotron in the absolute horrendous place. And this is just the wrong place to be. Look at how many angry demons are around, just looking to get the extra damage. Quite a few of the larger demons too.
It's true, but Grizzly was doing a pretty slick-looking like figure 8 to kind of like get what he needed out of those exchanges, put in the damage, and not stay around long enough to actually take too much punishment from actually all that clumping of demons. But wait, that Noxious Hazard right there just won the game. That was absolutely the perfect place for it, because again, they placed it in such a way, in such a place where there was no dash left. He was dashing into the Noxious Hazard, which is exactly what you want as a team of demons. Speaking of which, first, before I bring them back in, one final shout out to a big reason why we're here today, which is none other than Bethesda at Home, where we're all at home trying to stay safe, trying to do our very best to spread the love and be together. And part of that is UNICEF, which is an organization that specifically is basically trying to help all of the workers on the front lines fighting COVID, battling this crazy pandemic that we're in. And so if you hit either !donate or !charity, anything you can give, goes towards that. It's an amazing cause. We're very proud to be a part of it. And so again, it's only an if you can, but if you can, we greatly appreciate it.
If not, spread the word and enjoy the show. Just the more
100%.
the more that know about this kind of thing, the better it can be for spreading the awareness. You know what I mean? But that was a really good map number 2. Always like watching Tundra. Like I said, there's just something about it that it kind of almost feels like that map has something for everyone. I don't know whether it's just me, but whether it's demon or player, it's got quite a lot to offer. A lot of
really
space,
does.
a lot of opportunities to get fights and stuff, and it's a good watch.
And these 3 wild men up here above our heads, like, it's interesting because a lot of times you'll see a lot of the fights occur in the kind of like 4 little pillars that kind of hold up the zenith in the very epicenter of Tundra, where there'll be a lot of in and out fights there. But it seems like still in the lower area, but like you guys were having a lot of fights around the jump pad. And Grizzly, like a few times I saw you kind of like, I love seeing when Slayers in particular, like the way they use jump pads, they try to almost like in other games where you can almost like go to the top of it. And, normally people are like, oh, well, he's using this jump pad. The traversal is he's going forward. He's moving past it. And you'll literally like stay on the jump pad for like after like the second time you take the jump pad, basically the demons have no idea what the hell it is that you're doing. They're like, is he staying? Is he coming at me? Is he actually using the jump pad to go away? Like, are you just, is this constantly like, I know these guys really well. So I have to imagine that like a lot of this is mind games. Like walk us through your strat on Tundra.
Well, 50% of playing these games are mind games, really, especially when you know the guys as well as I do that I play with. I mostly tried to do the same thing, just aggressive, but throw in a bunch of, aerial combat in there because, the meatballs are going to stay in the air with me. So I tried to use them as much as I could, but they also have to know that if I use them as much as I can also trick them with it too. Although most of that, they already kind of figured that out, but like around match 2. And speaking about match 1, or where the one where I got killed by the panel mental, I was actually in assisted suicide. I rocketed him twice, and that hurt me. I mean, I pulled a bit of a dumb move there.
Much obliged.
It almost looked like there was one demon around, but yeah, rocket. Yeah. That's the one big thing. I think one of the biggest unsung things about Doom Eternal is that rocket launcher self-damage. It's so underrated.
It's like 50.
Easy. Yeah, it's punishing. And especially in that situation in round 1 when there's nowhere to run, savage.
But I like how that works.
Trying to get my savages in there. I was trying to be too savage with how I play.
But that works both ways, right? Like the rocket launcher is one of my favorites in the way that it punishes both sides and how you use it. Like a lot of times if you have really aggressive players like Marauders coming at you, everyone knows that, using that remote detonate on the rocket launcher is one of the best strategies for making demons just respect your space and stop pushing at you. But on the same token, like when you get close to something like a pain elemental and that shield is up and you start trying to use something like a rocket launcher, like the splash damage and the self damage you take from that is so punishing. So I like how that, it's like you kind of can't have it both ways in the right way that, weapon balance should be. It's like it does a lot of damage and it makes you respect the distance on both sides of it. But speaking of distance and speaking of shield, straight up, I'm going to start with Flyboy again. I'm going to go out of order because this is what we're doing, because it was out of order what you were doing with that shield when you were pushing. Like, talk to me about being a eye in the sky, and specifically like it was interesting. Like I couldn't even tell. Like it seemed like your guys' strategy was switching as far as like, do you guys do like natural shot calling stuff, or is everything just situational with you two?
I think actually in one of these matches that we played, Ossium and I actually weren't communicating at all. We were just
Damn.
kind of taking turns being on the aggressive side, and then when we would notice you start losing a lot of health, or your armor's down or your shield's down, you back off, let the other guy take up the slack. But as for that first round, or the first round in the second match per se, I was just trying to basically just be as aggressive as I could while still trying to stay on the defensive at the same time, because Ossium went down. Pressure was on me to at least try to stay alive for that revive cooldown. So I just put my shield up, and I didn't know what happened when it happened, but I was still spitting souls, and he shot a rocket. It was just all over, and I was like, oh, okay.
I mean, with the rapid nature of battle mode as well, you haven't really got much time to think about it.
Right.
The
A lot of it is seat of your pants, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if the question is what the hell just happened, it's like, okay, I guess I'll worry about it later. I guess we'll go back and check the tapes, right? That's what you can really do.
Right. Yep.
But yeah, Ossium as well. I want to ask you, the nature of being on something like Tundra, do you have like a preferred map? Are there certain maps that you guys prefer playing on? Is Tundra something that kind of ticks those boxes? What kind of maps do you prefer playing with this combination?
Uh, I personally don't like Tundra because the Slayer can get such good aerial superiority that it can be very hard to take him down,
Yeah.
especially as the Marauder, since pretty much all my damage comes from a shotgun. Kind of need to get in close. But honestly, like my favorite maps are actually I really like Celestial, even though it's bad for demons. Um, but Tundra is kind of down there personally, whether I'm Slayer or Demon. I prefer kind of smaller maps either way.
I feel like it's almost the evolution of the meta of battle mode, isn't it? Like I've the two for about a couple of weeks, I've just been super rammed with stuff, so it's been a lot harder to kind of say. I was grinding battle mode like every day, right, from launch up until my schedule just exploded, and now now obviously come back to it and stuff like that. There's a much larger emphasis on Slayers using things like chain gun shield, a huge
Yeah.
emphasis on using Noxious Hazard, and even just how Slayers approach the maps. Like Slayers are a lot more airborne now. The jump pads become so vital because so many of the demons are they kind of thrive on projectiles, right? Like as a Revenant, it's one of those things where if you want to beat a Revenant, use the jump pad a lot, because the Revenant can catch you on the floor, but the reality is it puts a lot of pressure on hitting directs, and the barrage becomes a lot harder to land too. And it's just interesting how in such a short space of time, Slayers are starting to approach the mode almost completely differently, even though they've had the same tools since launch. It's always fun to watch games just develop the way they do, I suppose.
Oh yeah, it's definitely the chain element, the chain shield has definitely been huge, which has then caused the noxious hazards to be huge. 'Cause that's the only good way to stop the shield. And I mean, I think it's just people are seeing in public matches, they're seeing good Slayers just stay in the air, and they're realizing, man, it's almost impossible to hit him when he's in the air like that as a demon. So more people are doing it, and it's for the better. It means we have to start doing smarter things.
Do you
But
think a big reason for one of that is that on the demon side at least, there's not a lot of hit scan options other
oh
than the
yeah,
Marauder shotgun.
yep,
So we really
that's
don't have a long range way to fight. So you almost have to get in close to deal reliable damage. So
Or do what I
pretty
do and
much,
body
yeah.
block reporters.
Yeah, body and you know what's
Yeah.
funny is like a lot of times we've seen it here on Friday Night Fights where on extraction in particular, there's that middle jump pad that the Slayer loves to try to take to come to kind of like the center of the map that has the hazard on it in the circle, and like we've seen so many body blocks from Pain Elemental shields just like straight up like just barcading through and just like knocking the hell out of the
There's
Slayer,
a-
just denying this space. It's crazy.
and don't want to hold it up too long, but there was a few times in some of the matches we were playing that um there were times where Grizzly was managing to stand on my shield while I
I
had
love
it
it.
up, and I took him for a small ride. It was pretty fun.
Magic Meatball Ride?
I
Love it.
was shocked the first time I ever saw that, and now you see it. It's almost just like, yep, that happened again. That's just the way it is now. He's gonna get
Again.
carried away.
Yeah, if that becomes like the prevalent meta, like I'm here for it. Like I can't wait to see more shenanigans with stuff with shield rides. But anyways, for now, just for a moment, we're gonna despawn you guys only because we're here for 3 maps. So we still have one more map catch up. This is it. This is the deciding map between these. You know, we've seen the first one went to Grizzly. The all-out aggression paid off big time in Celestial. And then in Tundra, suddenly there was like a lot of what would have been maybe 50-50s, but the demons stayed. It seems like they had more spawn demons in front of them. There was just more, you know, concentration of demon per inch than Grizzly was comfortable or ready for. And even though he was going all out for aggression, it didn't work out that time. That one went to the demons. So now, without further ado, we're on map 3, the final map.
It's going to be Extraction. And Extraction, it's pretty common that this seems to be a final map, isn't it?
That's true. Yeah.
This is the final pick. But
No, that's true.
It's got a really big sort of center point, but corridor heavy, and it's always quite fun for me to play on a map like that because you just got a lot of, as a demon, there's a lot of room and potential for you to kind of. It's so mind game heavy, and it's kind of like it's like the guys mentioned earlier that the more you play with players, the more familiar you get with their style, the more emphasis there is on just being really good at making the right read for how to escape. And this is a map where there are so many little corridors where that's possible, but also with the pain elemental behind the wheel, center point, that center jump pad, a very popular kind of blocking point if you're a pain elemental. So I do wonder if we'll see it today.
And it's one of those things where, especially when a Marauder is your teammate, that body block, if that's timed right where they know that that's going to happen, when that Slayer comes down and then he's within that super shotgun, just like absolute 100% hit scan range, like that could be a GG. That could be an end of round. So I'm really excited. Without further ado, Friday Night Fights, map 3. This is the one. Extraction. Here we goosh.
Here we go. The final one. But I mean, at this point, it's like I said, it's a map that you got to get some good calls at the start of the round. There are so many ways that a Slayer can attack. It's very rare that the demons will be the one that kind of charges out and attacks the Slayer. Then normally it's a lot more common that demons will kind of put up that defensive wall right at the beginning. And I love the fact that Grizzly making sure that his outline is hidden and just like that, going for a really unusual entryway.
I was going to say, yeah.
I mean, he even got himself a free little shot at the beginning. They clearly weren't ready for him to be there.
Like, again, you can tell these guys play, like, put in the time, literally doing private pubs, like, by themselves here in privates. Like, they deleted in there, but that was such a weird entry, starting from the ground level. I think that's the first time at Friday Night Fights we've ever seen that. And again, an interesting pick here with Resource Drain. So he's going for the fact that, you know, this map is one of those maps where basically demons are sometimes can be few and far between depending on how and when they're spawned. So going for that, of course, the Marauders got Best Friend, and then Fit Meatball, again, like you mentioned, Ketchup, is an absolute must pick for any Pain Elemental.
There's lots of room to disengage, and when you do, and you get even the smallest piece of fodder, you've got to make sure that you're getting a lot more resources for just, you know, how rare it can sometimes be to get one in a dire situation. But looks like right now, the early aggression, you know, only 10 seconds has got into this round. And we can already see FlyBoy being nice and aggressive, and they go for a block. Almost sounded a bit like a double block, so I do wonder if that was a little bit of a preemptive mistake. Double blocks can be so punishing at this level of play. That single, hang on a minute, can he get it? All right, that should be the end. That should be enough because you're going to get loads of ammo. You get loads of situations. The shield's going to be gone. There are plenty of demons to pepper out, but not enough. Not enough to shy away Grizzly from just finishing the job. A little bit of a block attempt, but you know what? All things considered, FlyBoy did a good job to survive that. I like that.
I agree, and there was that body block, but the problem was is after that body block, he went low instead of high. When you go low in that, you're kind of more in the Slayer's realm than you are in your open air, you know, bodega out there. Again, Master Carve Double Tactician, no surprises there for end of round. Everybody wants everything faster. Grizzly wants that sweet ammo faster, and of course these demons want all of their sweet spawn abilities faster. I'm curious to see if basically, like, it seemed like they were giving Grizzly a lot of respect on the top layer there. As you can see, like, they were kind of bunching up a little bit for him there on the open lanes. They're a little bit more spread out now. I'm really interested to see how this coordinated attack comes, because this is such a clever map as far as the way you can strategize, the way you can push. But wait a second, there's so much DPS! That, dude, you don't see enough turret. You really don't. Like, the mobile turret right there, Grizzly just used expertly for the chain gun. Like, it can be so overwhelming when you just start watching your HP just be sucked away at, like, disgusting rates. And already, like, this is interesting too right here. So Ossium is completely doing what you're supposed to do, which is stand still and have an escape route as he does, respecting where the teleporter was. They're spawning together. They're in a pretty good spot.
That's the big thing when you're hiding, is that you can't make the single bit of noise because most Slayers, and there's no music in game. So if you've got good headphones in, it's pretty easy. I've never seen the chain gun shred to that capacity before. Unfortunately, can't survive long enough for the hazard to really make too much of a difference. But Grizzly, incredibly weak. But this is where the resource drain might come into play. Because just look at how much health Grizzly was able to get for even a single piece of fodder using the shield. And using the mod swap, of course. Yeah, the damage of the turret and then the shield in between. You've got to be able to juggle between them. Chain gun definitely having two of the more commonly useful secondary fires. Obviously, shortly followed up by the ballista because of Arbalist and Destroyer Blade. But the fact that Grizzly was able to survive that, it all comes down to invincible shield plus resource drain, single piece of fodder. And it kept him alive enough to just survive a couple of Marauder damage and then get extra damage on top. Like, by all means, if he didn't have that combination, this round would already be over.
100%. And you see, like Ketchup pointed out, like, he gets so much HP now from just any, you know, AI that he's taking in that spawned in. So it's keeping him in a really healthy and confident situation. But this is the interesting part right now. So you've got on the back foot, you've got the Marauder hopefully hiding, more than likely making no noise, trying to stay quiet, trying to stay safe. He's actually got half a stack, which isn't so bad. Now you've got FlyBoy back in, but wait, he's in trouble. I love the hazard. I love the way they did the push-pull right there, where, you know, FlyBoy was able to push in with the shield, be aggressive.
Ooh,
What?
Let's go. Look at that.
That was a full reversal.
That's time and a place. That is time and a place right there. And the strength of countering the chain gun shield with the Noxious Hazard. It's not a complete guarantee every time that it's always going to work out, but the whole idea of using the hazard to take away the shield and then have the Slayer in a terrible position. I mean, you just have to wait for the magic time to pop it, and that clearly was. Now, power upgrades, again, it's the classic. You know, we want the extra damage from the Endless Rage. We want the team heal coming out and just double, because you can see how aggressive they're able to be. As soon as you have team heal on top of that, it just lets you to do what you want to do better. You know, there's really no other way you can put it. But almost immediately, another early chainsaw with no block. Grizzly trying to go for somewhat of a bait. He's going to get some free shots out there, but no need to use the block. It's such a finite resource. Using it this early on, it's just not worth it. Early shield's going to get popped. Looks like one shield's going to meet another. Wait, the aggressive play. The hazard. Almost taking away all of the armor in the blink of an eye. However, their hazards are down. Quite weak on the Pain Elemental. With Team Heal ready to rock, though, it's going to be swiftly dealt with. Grizzly's not going to sit around and fight. Look at the damage. Grizzly just pumping it out. It almost looked like for a split second that was perfect and good to go. Hang on a minute. So many demons. So many demons just in the way.
And this is like we were talking about. This is what we love so much about Extraction, is it has those open areas where demons, oh God, he got caught up in the Geo. You hate to see it.
Oh my.
There is no dashing away from hitting a corner. That is a corner. Corners are corners. It is 2-2. This is why we're here. This is the final round of this Friday Night Fights. You get the opening damage coming straight out with the precision scope. No surprise there. This map is made for those opening shots. It's really hard to avoid them. Again, look at all that HP just popping out of, you know, imps. Doesn't even matter who it is. There's just HP available. I love that pick
Saving
on
it for a
map.
rainy day. That's right there. Ooh, nice little ballista shot on the Marauder. Marauder, I mean, that kind of shot is so hard to get a hold of against a Marauder, because most of the time Marauder will have the defense buff kind of activated. So those kind of almost seemingly random shots is something that Marauder can't really account for. So that kind of free damage that's not reduced, kind of rare. You'll have that opportunity, but going in for the jump pad. And now here comes the best friend, the Wolf. Nice little shotgun blast, but again, here comes that chain gun shield to just soak up a whole bunch of punishment.
Ooh, team heal though.
Pain Elemental.
Well
yeah,
used.
you can be aggressive with team heal, ready to rock. There's the block. Sounded like a double block. Sounded like a double block right
That's
there.
Gonna hurt,
and that's, yeah, especially early on. He's gone through so much ammo already. Gonna get a completely uncontested chainsaw now. Just like that. They can't challenge it. And now Grizzly, and activate this Endless Rage too. Oh.
That was wild too. Like, I love to see a Slayer sitting in the middle of a hazard just chainsawing with like reckless abandon. I love to see it. Ooh, this is a nice idea of a retreat here. I love the way he's spawning in. Ossium's doing everything he can to stay alive, putting himself in a good position. He's still got a half a stack. You know how fast that can go, especially with all this crazy chain gun you see coming out. Oh no. Oh no. Flyboy had a very bad look on that. He was on the wrong side of that exchange. We're getting this back and forth rope-a-dope on this jump pad. Oh my!
He's taking a lot of damage actually.
He almost died on that Noxus. Yeah, that Noxus Hazard almost did it.
That Prowler's just getting in the way too. Man, I feel like on this stream, these AI demons have done more work than they've ever done in any of the sets we've had.
Yeah, these AI demons have been doing work. They're like right place, right time, and they're aggressive. Oh god!
More damage, and the guaranteed stack means
this is probably going to be it.
All we have time for. Down. Can't get away in time. Marauder doesn't like a ballista in the backside, and that's going to be the fine. I mean, that overall though was a really good map. I think we went through many different emotions during that map, but
we did.
Yeah, well done, GG's.
And I love how we saw like incredibly different encounters and setups for fights in different places, because that is one of my favorite parts about Extraction is like there's all these compartments for fights to break out, and there's all these open lanes, but like they fought almost all of them like in a phone booth in that map, and that's what I love to see because it's so frantic when you've got all the demons attacking, you've got all the setups happening, and you've got, you know, these madmen slayers, and by these I mean it's just Grizzly just pulling out the chain gun and just showing us what mobile turret looks like. Speaking of which, welcome back from the internet via Discord. Grizzly, first of all, resource drain. I love this pick. Like, is this something that you picked based on something you always pick for Extraction, or was this in particular based on after the first round you just went, you know what I didn't have? It's enough HP. Like, walk me through where your head was at with resource drain in particular.
Well, what I usually do, I pick power-ups based on either players or maps, or both, depending on what's going on. And Extraction has movement pads placed here and there, so I don't really need to have dashing. So I pick the next best thing, especially when the map for this map can go for either Slayers or the Demons. So they already have a good chance of, you know, winning the match, which they already won too. So like, hey, I need to keep sustaining myself so I can keep fighting. Otherwise, I'm just going to get melted by the acid baths and all that.
Yeah, I was going to say there were some noxious hazards that I think won one round, and they were dicey on the other ones. Like there was, I think it was like at the end of round 2, there was a noxious hazard and like all this DPS, and like your health was just invisible. Melted. Yeah, like I don't know if I've seen like that quick of a melt where when I looked up, I was like, wait, he was pretty healthy. Like I think you had no armor, but like you were pretty much like 100% HP, and then all of a sudden it's just like you hit a brick wall of hazards, and I think it was, you know, Ossium's super shotgun, and then Flyboy laying down those souls. Like,
and in the words of Defiler Phil, praise be the value boxes.
Extra value, mate. But there was also that moment where you were, I think it was round 2. It was round 2 or round 3, but there was that moment where you were pretty much at like 10 HP and that's it. You just gone up the jump pad and you had the invincible chain gun shield, and then you had that one small piece of fodder. Now, that one imp or something, because she had resource drain.
It was a Prowler, I think.
Yeah, that extra burst of HP that you got was completely life-saving at the time. Anyway, I know obviously that was a bit of a roller coaster round with the hazards at the end, but yeah, it's always nice to see those different picks coming through. Ossium, the 4th round, I think it was, you got stuck on the door.
Yeah, that was a bit embarrassing. That was an unfortunate piece of geometry. There wasn't much I could do about that. It was I probably would have died anyway, but it definitely expedited that process.
But you had some great escapes, I was going to say, yeah.
Oh yeah, one of the things I can do is run away. Might miss a shotgun, but I can run.
Well, there's things like the Marauder being smaller, isn't it? And
oh yeah,
one of those demons that is not as squishy as you might think, thanks to all the different ways. Obviously, you can reduce damage and stuff like that, but it doesn't stop you from being basically the same size as the Slayer, right? So it's not like trying to hit a Mancubus or something very, very similar. But overall, I think the two of you played really well, and it was your use of. And I actually really want to pick your brains about the use of hazard. Like when are like in your mind, the most common places you should use a hazard? Because I'm always thinking about Friday Night Fights opportunities for those that are watching the mode and they like the mode, but they're trying to reach that kind of next level, those next level
Mhm.
things to think about. Hazard really is one of those next layers to it because the strength of the shield for the chain gun being so good, a lot of players have to use the hazard to kind of almost like fight fire with fire as a direct answer, which is few and far between. What situations do you think are best for the hazard? Like when do you save it and when do you use it?
So I mean, the best time to use it is obviously when they're using the chain gun shield. But if you're going against a Slayer that's not using it all that much, then I like to keep it. There's one of the rounds we were going up and down on the jump pad. I dropped it at the bottom of the jump pad
So
and
good.
then ran through it so I could get away. And he'd either have to take the damage and chase me, or go around the longer way, which should have given me enough time to escape. Otherwise, I mean, if you know he's out of dashes, great time to use it. Or if you're just in a nice contained area, it's also a good time to use it. But obviously, best time if they're using the chain gun shield a whole lot.
And it was used a heap in that map, and obviously having those answers is always a good time. But Flyboy, I know you'd mentioned that you don't always communicate with each other. That map definitely kind of looked like a different story with just kind of how non-stop aggressive you were. Was that one of those cases where you were just chatting a little bit more, or was it just the synergy, the natural synergy as it normally is with you two?
At that point, we had played through a few matches, and I forget when we actually um, practiced, but we did practice a little bit beforehand before we even started fighting Grizzly.
Sure.
We typically we would typically just talk when we need to. If you got low health, pull back. I can push in. He's using a shield, or he's stuck in a corner. Put his own down. Try to block him with the pain elemental shield, and um, keep him on the ropes, like that kind of stuff. But for the most part, um, the the mentality for when it's a good time to use your tactical abilities. It's basically you don't like. I think there were a few moments when we did a double loop block, and there was a little bit of a lack of communication there. I think we ended up doing that twice over the course of those 5 rounds. Um, it ends up being just more of a game of like, if you're being aggressive and if you know in your heart of hearts that you can get some reliable damage in, it's best to do so when you can. Even if you end up on a cooldown when you could have gotten more damage later on, you just kind of have to hope that things work out. Pretty much, yeah. And I think actually at the end of that last round, I did have team heal, but I was too busy in an active confrontation with Grizzly.
pop it.
I didn't see the cooldown ended, and I was like, oh man, I could have helped us quite a bit right there, but yeah,
Yeah,
it
I
is
mean,
what it is.
it's
It was
the
a lot of
nature of
fun.
fighting.
Yep.
It's the nature of fighting a really good Slayer, though, isn't it? That any single mistake, I mean, it can be punishing, can't it? The amount of times
Right.
where
Yep.
you do one single double block. We've all been there when you do one single double block, but that one double block gives that one chainsaw or that one. There goes my mic. That one glory kill that you just want to try and like shut down, and it's like, oh, okay, well, everything's just going to snowball out of control now. But all things considered, I think the two of you did really well. They were fun games, and cheers for being a part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It was fun. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
So, Tokyo, on that note,
sir.
we always have to do it. It's already, I think I blinked, and all
I
three
know.
matches. And that does mean, unfortunately, that we are moments away from having to wrap things up. But I want to give all three of you a huge shout out and a huge thank you for being part of this. It's always nice to get talented players on board, and you've all been great sports. But as is always the way in Friday Night Fights, we're here to celebrate you guys and the players that make the game what it is, especially this mode. So, starting with you, Grizzly, are there any shout outs, any people you want to thank before we close up shop? This is your moment to thank some people.
Definitely. I have a couple people to thank, well, at least for their time. Bazooka Joey and Defiler Phil, of course, for having to deal with my ass for past couple weeks, and encourage me for all these fights, as well as, last but not least, dude, hell yeah, for his words, trying to encourage me for this game as well, and also bringing me into the community for the larger community to be with people that are also good, so we can get like tactics going. I can learn more about what to do with the Slayer. I can get games going. I can help the community get larger. And that's what I really like about that kind of thing. I wish I could say more about other people, but those three are what stand out for me.
Wicked. And obviously shout outs to the crew. Always 100% those guys. Just a passionate community, isn't it? I think there's a large community for Eternals battle mode of people that actively want to help other people get better. So questions or custom matches, whatever it is, it's not hard to find games, is it, if you're just in the right Discords and all the right people that want to help out. Ossium, much like Grizzly, any shouts you want to give, mate?
Mostly it would just be right back at Grizz. If it hadn't been for him mentioning it, I never would have gotten in touch with Tokyo. Never would have even known that I could have gotten into this. So honestly, had it not been for him mentioning it, I wouldn't even be here. And then obviously, I want to thank both you guys. You guys have been great. This has been fun. It's nice to be able to get out there and just be a part of it.
Thank you very much, mate.
Thanks,
and
dude.
finally, last but not least, Flyboy. Any shouts, bro?
Pretty much just mirroring what Ozium just said. Really appreciate you guys having us here on the stream today. It was fun playing against my brother for once instead of with him, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. Hope maybe we'll get to do it again someday.
Cheers, guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. Again, really appreciate it. All of the most passionate players coming forward. Again, if you, I'm going to despawn you guys just for a minute. Poof. Just to say again, if you are super passionate about battle mode and you want to get in touch, you can shout out at myself or Ketchup. We'll get you on the schedule. We'll get you in the fold of all these maniacs putting in the time, putting in the effort, putting in the energy, putting in the passion into Doom Eternal's battle mode. So again, just shout out at us if you want your shot on the show. But speaking of which, usually this is the point where we say we keep it going and we talk specifically about the matchup that'll be next week. But this week is different.
Yes.
And the reason that it's different, we're not going to get super into, but let me just tell you guys this. Starting next week, there's going to be some changes of stakes. The stakes are going to get higher. How high? I don't know. How do you cook your steaks? But I'm just going to tell you that it's going to be juicy. It's going to be delicious. It's going to be savory. It's going to be right. Ketchup, I don't want to say too much about it. Is there any other last words that you have for everyone out there before we do what we always do when we pass the baton from one Doom Eternal stream to the next, of which I think, by the way, we're going to do I Am Alston, because Alston, our boy, who was here maybe 2 weeks ago as a Slayer, is streaming an Ultra Nightmare run right now. We are going to raid him, and don't forget to tell him that you love him and be sweet and wish him luck on this Ultra Nightmare run. But Ketchup, any final messages we want to send to peeps out there?
I mean, in regards to next week, my lips are sealed, but it's definitely going to be worth the wait, that's for sure. I just want to extend a huge thank you to everyone that tunes in. It really is a lot of fun doing these, and it's crazy to think just, going over all the different players and all the different weeks that we've done. I mean, it feels like not a lot of time has passed, but we've had a fair bunch of these shows now, and it's nice to see the community still going in on the mode and having a good time with it and just celebrating it. I mean, it gives me community vibes from back in the Doom 2016 days. It's just people are just more concentrated, more funneled in. There's more Discords now. There's more YouTube content. There's more people streaming the game. It's easier to get involved than it was back in the day, that's for sure, when it comes to this game. And yeah, just a huge thanks to everyone that watches. Much love, and we'll see you next time.
All right, guys, stay tuned. We are going to throw to thanks for watching just so we can raid our boy, Alston. So thank you guys again. We love you. We'll see you next week for a surprise.
Nice raid. Thank you for the follow. I do appreciate that. I'm missing all my shots now that the pressure's on.